Back in 2020, there was an insane amount of hype going around concerning certain manhwa anime adaptations that were being helmed by Crunchyroll. Back then, I didn't really care too much about manhwa or webtoons, mainly because I never really read them and didn't have much interest in reading them in the first place. Wow, I'm already referring to 2020 as back then. Damn, does time fly. I'm feeling old now. I know it's pretty short-sighted to disregard an entire medium of storytelling because of it just not being Japanese, but that's just kind of how I thought back then for some reason. Amongst these adaptations that were receiving crazy hype in 2020 was God of High School, a webtoon touted to be one of the greatest that the medium has ever seen. I watched the first couple of episodes of the anime that were being released in 2020 since God of High School's adaptation was being handled by MAPPA and headed by Sung-Hoo Park, who would go on to become quite the big name in the industry after directing Jujutsu Kaisen's first season and movie. I wasn't really too impressed with the material though, as it kinda just felt like an anime where the story doesn't really matter at all, and it's just people throwing hands, randomly getting stronger, and then continuing to throw hands. The Sakuga was nice and all, but I can literally go watch any battle shonen to get this experience, but better. Well, maybe not any battle shonen, but a good chunk of them. I eventually got bored of God of High School and didn't even bother to finish the anime. 3 years later, I hear that God of High School finally ended after serializing weekly for over 10 years on Webtoon, and with it, endless praise. Now here I am, sitting, thinking, what on earth is garnering this much praise? I thought it was just a manhwa about fighting, and 10 years of serialization too? Almost 600 chapters? I had to dive into the story to see what I was missing out on, because clearly the anime wasn't enough to convince me. So here I am, a few weeks later, 300 something chapters into this story, and let me tell you something, I am hooked. Completely and utterly hooked. The God of High School is awesome. Sick as hell. It's everything I love about Battle Shonen, all in one colorful martial arts wrap package. I'm not going to go into some long synopsis of what God of High School has been about so far because 1, I'm 300 chapters in and I don't want to be stuck here all day, and 2, I'm not even done yet, so half of the plot points I might bring up won't even be resolved or have a concrete conclusion yet. So instead, I'm just going to talk about what I like about God of High School. But if you want the gist of God of High School, it's about a high schooler named Mori Jin, who's been training a special kind of taekwondo taught to him by his grandfather, who's literally the GOAT of martial arts. Mori is recruited to fight in a tournament called the God of High School to get access to nanotechnology facilitated by a fiend named Mujin Park. Anywho, Mori joins this first tournament, makes 2 friends in Mira and Daiwi, and off the story goes, from somewhat normal martial arts tournaments to main characters borrowing the powers of literal gods to whoop ass in the most badass way possible. I like Mori Jin. I really like Mori Jin. He's him. He's truly him. He knows he's got the sauce and dishes out his taekwondo in such a quick, clever, and unique way, and the way it's all illustrated makes it super easy to follow. He reminds me a lot of Luffy when it comes to his nature of being mostly jovial, but knowing when to lock in and fight for his friends and values. It also helps that Mori's basically the Monkey King and Luffy is Monkey D. Luffy. I love how the story doesn't really try to frame Mori as being some complete underdog who makes it to the top as well. We know Mori is special from his origin to his grandfather being the only human who was nominated to be the god of fighting. I also really like the main trio as well. Daiwi, Mira, and Mori honestly all interact with each other in a super playful, childlike way at the beginning, and we really get to see their bonds get stronger as time goes on. They're all very flawed as well when it comes to the way that they think, but Daiwi always willing to throw it all away to protect others, while Mira's always thinking she's the one holding the squad back. Everyone in this trio gets their moments to shine from time and time again throughout the God of High School tournaments being held to the random skirmishes we see throughout the series. The whole cast is honestly pretty damn good. Yongje takes his time to give everyone, everyone, fighting in the tournament strong backstories as to where their motivations come from and why they want to access the God of High School's nanotechnology. This makes the fights themselves hit a lot harder as we actively see Mori and the trio tearing down the dreams of others from all across the planet with each victory. Speaking of the others, I might as well touch on the world building for now because my god is it really good. When God of High School says it's a world tournament, it means it. Are all the strongest characters Korean? Of course they are, but at least there's other countries included, from the US to Iran to Macedonia. It's great seeing all the representation. Hell, we even find out that Mori himself had gone on an enlightenment journey across India during a past life. This representation is heavily exemplified by borrowed powers as well. Borrowed power basically allows someone to use the power of a legendary figure in history or mythology or whatever by making a contract with them. This means apart from straight up hands and kicks being thrown, we also get to see literal gods shoot beams of destruction, summon huge ass pillars of stone, destroy planets, every crazy thing imaginable. God of High School has someone who can do it. I also really love how the conflict only doesn't involve Earth either. We get to see monsters and gods fight against humans and see all the different sides that believe they're superior and why they continue to fight. I can't really go too in depth with this since I just finished the Ragnarok arc, but man, the foreshadowing for Mubang's plan, the transfer of powers from the Jade Emperor, the gods and the monsters deciding the fate of Earth, it was all amazing. I haven't even gotten to the villains in specific either yet, but that can wait for another video. Mujin deserves better than just being shoehorned at the end of this one. I'm only halfway through, but I'm completely enthralled by that character. He just has that it factor, you know what I'm saying? The art for God of High School's manhwa is also insane. Yongje is seriously gifted with the pen. The way he draws choreography is among the best I've seen in general, and every time he starts shifting colors for a signature move, I get super hyped. On top of this, he draws super detailed and just jaw-dropping landscapes as well. I mean seriously, the settings for some of these fights are just flat out gorgeous, especially in Ragnarok, and the best part? It's all colored. Anyways, I just wanted to gush over God of High School for a bit. I'm sorry if my thoughts seem jumbled, but hey, it's hard talking about over 300 chapters of content in a compact frame like this. I'll try to make another video or two once I finish. I might even try diving back into the anime as well at the end of this haul. We'll see. In conclusion, read God of High School.